Mark Hale for the New York Post here, coming to you from Post headquarters in Midtown Manhattan. We've got Paul Schwartz, our longtime Giants beat writer here, talk a little Giants football after Week 1 as the Giants get ready for Week 2 against the Rams on Monday night, their home opener. And Paul, let's start with the status, injury-wise, of three of the Giants' biggest players, Justin Tuck, Osi Umenyiora, and Hakeem Nicks. Where are the Giants with those three?
Well, it's a lot of firepower in that group right there. So obviously Giants fans want to see them all on the field. That won't happen, but maybe they'll get 2 out of the 3. Justin Tuck was at an event on Tuesday and said he feels like he can play on Monday night. That was a day after he said he's 50-50. He said he was just throwing a number out there as far as 50-50. You know, it all comes down to how the comfort level with his neck. You're not going to put a guy in the field who's got any kind of a neck issue. Players are really frightened about that. They know that it can be a season-ending, career-ending. That you can't fool around with that. It's not a pain threshold situation. As he said, you can't just be a tough guy and go out there and want to play through this. So he needs to get on the practice field once or twice this week. I'm sure he'll be either limited or won't do much on Wednesday, but I think at this point Tuck is probably more of a go than not a go.
Okay.
As far as his buddy Osi Umenyiora, he just started running. He's coming off arthroscopic knee surgery. I would say he will. There's virtually no chance of him playing this Monday.
Okay.
I just think that's too much too soon. I was always looking at the third game for him against the Eagles, and I still think that's a realistic shot for him. Hakeem Nicks, I think the Giants finally dodged a injury bullet here. I'm hearing that the injury is not substantial. It's not ligament cartilage. It's more of a bruise. I imagine he'll be listed as day-to-day. I don't imagine he'll practice fully on Wednesday in practice, but I think he can get on the field at some point this week, and I would expect him to play against the Rams.
Paul, I mean, for the last 5-6 years, the Giants, even when they haven't made the playoffs, have always been a competitive team, a good team. They haven't had a losing record any of these seasons. They've obviously won a Super Bowl. But there's already a lot of panic, obviously, after this Week 1 performance and a bad preseason. Do you think the panic level is justified? How would you feel right now about this season if you're a Giants fan?
Well, I think I would be alarmed. Now, if you want to look at it as a chicken wing, I wouldn't call it, third-degree fire alarm, not responsible, hottest wings alarm, and I wouldn't also call it mild alarm. I would call it in the middle alarm. It's not a good start to the season, and for a lot of reasons. First of all, the Redskins were universally picked to finish last in the NFC East. We know sometimes predictions are wrong. I still don't think anyone thinks the Redskins are a power, so to lose an opener to them, no matter where it is disturbing. Eli Manning, the big thing about Eli Manning is not that he didn't play great in one game, is that he has not played or looked good this whole summer. And it was easy to dismiss that as saying we don't game plan here. We're just trying to fit some new guys in, fit a new offensive line together, fit some new receivers in. But he has not looked good for any length of time all summer, and more of that was the same on the field at FedEx Field. And so I think that's disturbing. The defense, I think, played not a good game, but not a terrible game. There's certainly some coverage issues they need to sort out, but they are missing a lot of guys, and there will be guys coming back. Tuck will help, things like that. OC may be right around the corner. So I think there's reason to believe that the defense can certainly be better. Offensively, they just need to play better because there's no reinforcements coming.
We're talking with Paul Schwartz, our Giants beat writer here. And Paul, you mentioned Eli Manning. How do you evaluate Eli? I mean, obviously not a good game Week 1 and not a good preseason, as you said. But do you feel like he's regressing, or was this just a bump in the road? He's got to get in sync with his receivers, and you expect them to be fine.
Well, the thing about Eli is can he elevate the players around him? He's had good players at times, and he's played well with them. I don't think the talent is as good right now.
Right.
Jake Ballard looked like he did some decent things at tight end, but right now he's not Kevin Boss. There's virtually no third receiver. The first series of the season, Victor Cruz runs a nice route and gets open. Should be a first down. On a third down pass, he drops the ball. That's rough. Dominic Kickson has not looked great as a third receiver. So Eli, I don't think Eli played terribly in this game by any means.
Okay.
There were a few drops. The protection was not great. He was sacked 4 times in the second half. There's some issues with David Boss, the new center, as far as him making all the adjustments and doing all the right things on there assignment-wise. So I don't think Eli was awful in this game. The interception was very unfortunate, and I still think he could have prevented it. Eli and Tom Coughlin and even Kareem McKenzie, the right tackle, who didn't get a block down on the rookie Ryan Kerrigan, all say it was just a great play by him. I will credit the rookie with making a great play, but Eli did throw the ball. So Eli has not regressed, I would say, yet, but he certainly hasn't progressed to this point.
Last thing, Paul, you mentioned a little bit of the offensive line, and obviously you wrote about the offensive line in today's post. The need for this unit to step up. What do you expect out of this offensive line going forward here?
Well, it has to be a strong point of the offense, or else they're in real trouble because it's the linchpin that everything is pinned upon right here. They need to run the ball. They only ran it for 75 yards on 20 carries. Not good. 3.8 yards, not acceptable. There are three changes to this offensive line. Will Beatty is the new left tackle, and he's in his third season. He was a second-round pick. It's time for him to become a franchise left tackle. I think there's some work needs to be done there. David Deal is now a left guard instead of playing left tackle. He did not play a great game against the Redskins. I think he was beaten at least once or maybe once and a half on sacks as the Redskins really put pressure up the middle on Eli, which is disturbing. The right side with McKenzie and Chris Snee seems to be set. And then you have, as I mentioned earlier, David Boss, the new center. He had just a completely blown assignment on the 4th and 1 carry, did not block the right man, did not make the proper adjustment, and it results in a no gain and a exchange of possession, which is really rough on a 4th and 1 play. So the offensive line, I think, is a work in progress, but that work can't take too long. They're all veterans. After Will Beatty, everyone else is in the 6th or 7th year or more, so these are not young guys who need to feel their way through. These are guys who need to get on the same page right now in time for Monday night's game.
All right, great stuff as always from Paul Schwartz on Eli, on the offensive line, and obviously on the injury front as well. We'll have a lot more with Paul during the season. In the meantime, tweet your Giants questions to me on my Twitter account @HailMark, and the next time we have Paul on, we'll hopefully be able to ask him some of those questions. In the meantime, you can follow Paul on Twitter @NYPost_Schwartz. For the New York Post, I'm Mark Hale.